Before we get the word out, it must first be formed in us. It must become a reality in us. Welcome to Word of Wisdom, a podcast that seeks to rebuild and restore the true image of God in you by drawing wisdom from the scriptures and giving practical insights for their application. I'm your host, Briant Lubanga, ready to journey with you. Last week we talked about the retention system and how retention is more than just recitation, but hiding and treasuring the word in your heart. So today we look at the root system. In Matthew 13 verse 5, it talks about the seeds that the sower cast on different grounds, and it says that others fell on rocky ground where they didn't have much soil, and immediately they sprang up because they had no depth of earth. In verse 20, Jesus goes on to explain the parable by saying, "What was sown on rocky places, this is he who hears the word and immediately with joy receives it, yet he has no root in himself, but endures for a while. When oppression or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles." There are people who hear the word with great joy and gladness. They get excited about what God is saying to them, but lack the understanding of the process they need to go through for it to produce the intended results. Most of the time, it would be a genuine prophetic word they received over their lives. But the problem is, they are quick to run with it without being well grounded. Just as the scriptures describe them, they quickly spring up for lack of depth. These are also the kind that as soon as they hear a good message, they are quick to go preach it without proving it. Before we get the word out, it must first be formed in us. It must become a reality in us. Think about Joseph. From the time he received a word that he will rule over his brothers to when he actually did, there was a long season of processing. From being sold to slavery to going to prison, he understood that he was being processed and was able to stand strong. This is why he was able to say to his brothers in Genesis chapter 45, verse 4 to 6, and I paraphrase, "I am Joseph your brother, whom you sold to Egypt. God sent me before you to preserve your life. God sent me to preserve you for a remnant in the earth and to save you alive by a great deliverance." Those are words of a rooted man. Despite what he had experienced, he stood firm in order to fulfill purpose. When Jesus called his disciples, he first called them that they might be with him. Remember, he is the Word. Being with him was the root-forming process they had to go through. Inasmuch as they deserted him later during the crucifixion, they still returned to him after resurrection because they knew that he had the words of life. The Bereans in Acts chapter 17 were commended for proving the word. They didn't just hear it. They processed, they tried and tested it in order to prove that it was so. Rooting is not an easy process. It challenges your beliefs and traditions. It realigns your perspectives and worldviews. It's so intense a process that you may need to hide for a moment and allow the word to be formed in you. Just like roots are hidden in the ground, people may not see the word being processed in you, but the inner workings are giving you a firm stance. When one is not rooted, instead of the sun giving them the necessary light and nutrients, it scorches them and they wither away because of intense pressure. Instead of the wind blowing a sense of refreshing, they are carried away by every wind of doctrine. Instead of the floods raising them higher, they are overwhelmed and carried away into destruction. When roots are healthy and strong, the stability of the tree is guaranteed. The tree will withstand the scorching sun, the stormy winds, and the rising floods. A rooted man is proven by the scorching sun. They not only withstand the heat, but they benefit from it. They may shed off leaves for a time, but they will soon blossom. A rooted man is proven by the stormy winds. They not only withstand the gusts, but they get refreshed as the weak and unwanted leaves are pruned away. A rooted man is proven by the floods. They not only withstand the high waters, but they refresh and store up for the coming days. Develop your roots for quality fruit.